Now, I will be doing a reading of Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Now, before I officially grab the book and start reading, one thing I would like to point out. No matter how much any of you would want me to, I'm not gonna sing "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch." None of the versions that are both pure and any of these, the movie versions. Alright. Let me just grab the book. Let's see. Wait. Alright. Alright. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Every Who down in Whoville makes Christmas or not, but the Grinch, who never just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. No, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But, whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm-lighted windows but no one in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now, hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here. Then he growled, with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming. I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow he knew, other Who girls and boys would wake bright and early, they'd rush for their toys. And then, oh the noise, noise. That's one thing he hated, the noise. Then the Who's, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast. They would feast on Who pudding and well, Who roast feast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the town and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing. They'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing. And the more the Grinch started this whole Christmas thing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how? Then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do, the Grinch snapped in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat, and he suckered and clucked for the great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No. The Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max, Then he took some wet thread, and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, "Giddy up!" And the sleigh started down towards the homes where the Who's lay snooze in their town. And their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air. The Who's were out dreaming, sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square, "This is stop number 1, the old Quincy Claus hissed. And he climbed onto the roof, and the bags in his fist. Then he snared down the chimney a watertight fence. But if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck for only once, for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out as the fireplace flue, where the little Who's stockings are hung in a row. "These stockings," he grinned, "are the first thing to go." Then he knitted and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present: pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, cycle boards, tricycles, popcorn and plums. And he stuffed them in bags, and the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags, one by one, up the chimney. Then he snuck to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash. Why, the Grinch even took the last can of Who has. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney wickedly. "And now," grinned the Grinch, "I will stuff up the tree." And the Grinch grabbed the tree, and he started to sob. When he heard a small sound like the coo of a dog, he turned around fast, and he saw a small Who. Little Cindy knew who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter, who'd gotten out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Auntie Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?" But you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick. "Why, my sweet little tot," the fake Santa Claus lied, "there's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, and then I'll bring it back here." And his fab foot aside, and he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy knew Who went to bed with a cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. And the last thing he took was a log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old Nile. On the walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire, and the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was dawn. Are the Who's still abed? Are the Who's still as news? When he packed up his sled, packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his nose to the tip-top to dump it. "Pooh-pooh to the Who's," he was quizzically humming. "You're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. You're just waking up. I know just what you'll do. Their mouths will hang open for a minute or two, and the Who's down in Whoville were all quite boo-hoo. That's the noise, grins the Grins, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grins put his hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started to gnaw, and it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry. Very. He stared down at Hoover as the Grins popped his eyes, and he sucked. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing, without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grins, with his Grin's feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzle was solved. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day, and the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he raced with his nose through the bright morning night, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast, and he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. Alright folks, that's it for now. Let me know how you felt about this, and if you wanted me to do other projects like this. And don't forget, if you haven't already, to click the subscribe button and ring the bell. Signing off for now.